some things he says sort of strike me as his own thinking, and sometimes as a result of the culture he was in. For instance, saying women shouldn't speak, and excuse me, I have a cold. Women shouldn't speak in church, and men shouldn't have long hair, and some other things that he says that are just sound more like Paul than they do the voice of God.
Oh yeah.
So, what else can we say about Jesus? Anything? Is that it? Those 4 things? Fulfilling prophecies, his impact on the world, coming as a sacrifice, so I'm really taking the resurrection out, which is really weird. That's pretty heretical, huh? Well, that's just because we're used to that. We're used to just saying, well, was crucified, died, was buried, and was raised to life. But we assume when we say raised to life, we mean bodily. So I definitely believe that he's one with God and ruling now. So in a sense, I'm still believing in the resurrection, so to speak, just not. Maybe just the resurrection is the wrong term, because I think that it's coming from like being resuscitated, right? But I believe, he's reigning now and ruling things and intervening when he wills it, and sometimes when people's prayers align with his will, and you'll see his hand in your life. Yeah, let's look at that. How about answered prayer?
Oh yeah, baby.
No, that kind of goes back to number 2 I was referring to as impact and the spiritual miracles. So it's really kind of the same thing, but it's just a little different nuance here. And that is, I think, as you engage in dialogue with God and you learn to be still in meditation and prayer, you begin to receive knowledge or understanding of the will of God, and you begin to align yourself with that will that comes through this meditation and prayer, to the point that you can ask for things that are the will of God, and you can begin to sense and experience fairly quickly the response in the spirit and the buoyancy that you receive when you turn your mind to things that are in the will of God. And in that sense, I think you can call that answered prayer. You get a sense of deliverance from negative thinking, from serving yourself, from being addicted to sensual appetite. Pretty quickly you can get a sense that you're getting supported from without and within. That this change, you might have been battling bad habits of thinking and behavior for years, but once you start putting your mind to being delivered of that and coming into agreement with God, you get a sense of like the presence of God changing you. You're thinking differently. You don't want those things anymore. It's not that much of a temptation. Don't feel like I'm a slave to my ego. And you get sort of, more and more strengthened. And I think that's evidence of Jesus' ascendancy, because when you come to God with those prayers, you're praying in acceptance of having access to divine power through faith in Jesus as Lord and Savior. Now, I think you get similar things in Buddhism and Hinduism and probably Islam. I don't know about Islam too much, or in Judaism, where through practice and meditation and prayer over time, like I said earlier, you learn to rise above your egoic self. You learn not to place yourself in a victim's position to your emotions and your negative behavior and thought patterns, to the point where you start appearing as someone different. Your character has changed. You're no longer slave to the sensual appetites and that kind of thing. You still have that struggle, but you're kind of rising above it for, the betterment of yourself, the betterment of others, being a service to others and service to the world by extension.
Oh yeah, baby.
So I think that's where there's a similarity in the two experiences. And I think that, God's grace is such that if that is your chosen belief system, then you can experience an aspect of grace and support in those practices. I just think in Jesus you get a how should we say, it's almost like in Jesus, his spirit is replacing yours. So it's similar in that your character is being developed and your ability to control your mind and emotions is being developed, like these other religions. But the difference, I think, in Jesus is that he gives you his spirit, that it almost makes it easier to put that former life away, because his way, his mind, his thinking, his spirit replaces yours.
Oh yeah.
All right, time for another record.
Andy Williams, come on now. Birova basaretire, arwe feikana arwe yahu. Oh yeah.
We're going Andy Williams crazy. So, to review, we talked about prophecies, his impact, his sacrifice, his resurrection. Sorry. And answered prayer. Oh, let's talk about body life. And by that I mean, a community of believers that you get together with, that when you're in tune with each other, and for the most part you believe most of these things, that when you come together you are looking to corporately experience together this submission to the Lordship of Christ and sing praise songs to him, have moments of quiet where you're looking to be led by his Spirit to maybe say a certain word, pray in a certain direction, express devotion in a certain way, something that's very unique to that moment that is shared by a group of common believers. There's something really uniquely tangible when you get into the right place at the right time with the right people.
Oh yeah. Just like a jazz.
Doesn't happen a lot.
Concert, honey.
Well, that's just for me. It hasn't happened a lot. I probably, because I get too discouraged with people,
Being
trying
idiots.
to promote their ministry, promote a certain structure that they want a service to go in, promote certain people, elevate certain people to be the deliverers of God's goodness.
Being full of crap.
That others who are not authorized to do cannot do and are prohibited from doing. Those things always get in the way for me because I'm looking for something that is truly from the Spirit, which wouldn't do any of those things. You're not going to think more highly of one over another. You're not going to put more emphasis and expectation on one person over another. You're not going to predict how the time is going to be spent. You're not going to promote your own ministry or somebody else's ministry and take advantage of people at a vulnerable time and force them to give when normally they wouldn't. So those are the kind of things that I think get in the way. But as long as you can keep those things away and you really look for the honor of each other, the honor of the moment, the honor of God's love and intention of doing something special and unique for that group, and you really allow that time to be uniquely developed together by the Spirit, then I think you have some real tangible evidence of the life of Jesus.